If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would be a makeup artist and hairstylist, predominantly focusing on stage glam for bodybuilding competitions, I would have looked at you like you were crazy. And I dang sure would have looked at you like you were insane if you would have told me 10 years ago that I would end up being a professional bodybuilder. I probably would have asked you if you were on crack cocaine.
I like my coffee black, wife too. Don't turn this into no controversy, it's my boo. I could make $250,000 off a haiku, and I could make another quarter off at times too.
What's up, y'all? I'm Amberp, makeup artist and IFBB Bikini Pro. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to become an IFBB Bikini Pro. Now, this, for the majority of it, is going to pertain to all divisions. So rather you're bikini, wellness, figure, women's physique, women's bodybuilding, it's going to pertain to all of those. However, I personally compete in bikini and I'm a bikini pro, so that's why I'm specifically talking about bikini. And then if I'm speaking on something and it is specifically for the bikini division, I will make sure to let you guys know that. So first off, a little bit about me. I have always been an active, healthy, fit person. My background is in competitive cheer. I did competitive cheer for 5 years. Then right after that, I was a coach. I coached gymnastics for 7 years. So we've got all of that time lifting humans in the air, bulked me up pretty good. When I was a teenager in high school doing competitive cheer, I went from being asked, are you anorexic? Because my body type is the skinny body type, right? Genetically, my parents, both of my parents, tall, lanky, both of my parents are basketball players. So they have basketball player physiques, which is why my genetics are what they are. So I went from being very, very skinny, long, lanky, got into cheer, lifting humans, and ended up putting on muscle. And I always knew as a child that I looked different. And I'm not saying this in a I look different, but I was like, I look different. What's happening? Why don't I look like everyone else? Fortunately for me as a young child, I was very good at just accepting things for what they were. I have always been a very understanding person. I understood this is the way I look. This is what it is. I'm not sure that I can do anything about it, but what I can do is hide it because I don't want to stand out. I don't want to be the center of attention. I don't want to look like a freak of nature, and that's how I felt. So I would always spend a lot of time just hiding myself. Don't want to stick out, just blend in. And so once I graduated high school and then like early on in my early 20s, I spent a lot of time hiding my body because, especially my arms, because I got sick of people always pointing it out because it made me feel bad because I understood that I looked different. I also understood that everyone else could see that I looked different, and I didn't like that because I just want to be in the background. So I ended up coming across bodybuilding due to two of my clients. One beautiful, tall, blonde bombshell came in one day, needing extensions. Someone recommended her to me. I started doing her extensions for her competition, and I had no idea what she was doing, and I just started chatting with her about it, and she explained to me that she was running a bikini competition. So later on that night when I got home, I was just curious to see what she was talking about, Googled it. At first, I just saw men's bodybuilding and I said to myself, this ain't it. What is she doing? I came across bikini and I was stunned. That was the first time in my life that I had ever seen women with physiques that somewhat resembled mine. And I was blown away. And of course, at that point, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so cool. These women look like me. I wonder if I can do this. So you know how when you get on Wikipedia, not Wikipedia, if you have a symptom and you Google it and it's going to tell you you're dying and it's really just a head cold, that's what happened to me. Googled bikini bodybuilding and all I found was bodybuilding ruined my life. And then once I realized I had to basically be on stage in a thong, I'm a modest girl. I said, absolutely not. Putting that to bed, can't do it. Fast forward, that was 2015 or 2016. Fast forward to 2017. Yeah, 2016, 2017, I get another bodybuilder, women's physique pro, getting ready for the Arnold. I had no clue what the Arnold was then. Now, oh, I very much know what the Arnold is now. And so I started following her on Instagram, and I thought she was just the coolest, most badass thing ever. Still do. Shout out to Lauren, because without her, I wouldn't be here where I am. And so every time she would pop up on my Instagram feed, I was just like, this girl is so cool. She's so amazing. I never, ever, ever, as a young girl, wanted to be a princess. Like, I was never that princess girl, never cared about like Disney princesses. However, loved superheroes. I just always loved the concept of good battling evil, being strong, helping people, protecting people, and she looked like a real life superhero, and I wanted to be a real life superhero. So at that point, 2017, when I started playing with the idea of it, I knew I wanted to do it, but I was in the process of planning my wedding, so not the time. Got through all of that, was on a mission of healing my gut and just diving into my nutrition because I was having a lot of gut issues, not feeling well. Figured that out. After I got married, 2018, 2019, I told my husband, yo, I'm gonna be a bodybuilder. And he looked at me like I was crazy, because now looking back at it, that was wild. I went from just being my normal salon, hair color self to, hey, guess what? I'm about to be a bodybuilder. And so that was in spring of 2019 is when my bodybuilding journey began. So you want to be an IFBB Bikini Pro. I'm going to give it to you straight, no chaser. I'm not going to water anything down. I'm not going to leave anything out. I'm going to explain everything to you as much as I can that comes to my head. I do have my notes here, so if I'm looking down, that's why, because I didn't want to leave anything out. And if it deters you, that's okay, because I want you to understand how it goes and what it could potentially take for you to become a pro. So the first thing you got to understand is this will probably be one of the most challenging things you have ever done in your life. I'm not being dramatic. This shit's hard. It is hard. It is difficult. There will be hard times. There will be lows. There will be moments when you feel like you're going out of your mind. There will be moments when you think you're just going to fall out. There will be moments when you won't have the energy to even open your eyes. I'm not being dramatic. All of that stuff is true. First, we got to get into some mindset shit, because I'm a mindset girly. It's something that I'm very passionate about, and I know that is the reason why I was able to turn pro this season, is because I got my mind together. Number two, everyone's not going to understand it, and it is not your duty to do so. This is something that I struggled with, and I've always struggled with, because I am such a very understanding person. I expect that same energy back. However, that is unrealistic, and that's not how it goes. And so I would find myself spending a lot of time trying to explain myself, doing everything that I could to make people understand, not just bodybuilding, but just anything that I had going on. And guess what? That is a waste of your time. It is a waste of your energy. Everybody ain't gonna like it. Everybody ain't going to agree with it, and I guarantee you a lot of people are going to have something to say. However, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got them. The only people that truly need to be in the know and need to really have a good grasp and understanding of what you're doing is your significant other. And of course, if you're a mom and you have children, like obviously depending on how old they are, but they need to kind of, you know, your family, the people that live with you, whoever, whether you have a significant other, you have a partner, you're married, children, roommates, whatever the case may be, whoever is living with you in your household, that's who honestly needs to be explained. That's who honestly needs to be talked to the most in regards to what it is that you're doing and that you're getting ready to do. Everybody else, it is what it is. I got so many comments, and you're going to get a lot of comments, especially when I was in salon. Oh, well, you don't want to get too bulky. Sis, if it were truly that easy, don't you think we'd all be jacked? Like, honestly. Fact of the matter is, when people have these comments, basically, they are projecting their thoughts, feelings, emotions, and mindset onto you. They're looking at you, and instead of saying, dang, I could never do that, they're going to hit you with some other nonsense. The only reason why they are saying these things to you is because, first of all, they don't understand it, but mainly they know that they don't have the courage to even think about doing what you are doing. So unfortunately, instead of saying, you know what, that's incredible, or highly motivated because I know I could never do that, instead of saying that, they're going to hit you with some other stuff. And you have to have a sharp mind. You have to understand that you have to turn it off, because the thing is, if you can't handle those comments, when it comes down to actually the nitty gritty of bodybuilding, getting on stage, getting the critiques, getting the low placings, you're not going to make it. You have to have tough skin, especially in bikini, because bikini can be very volatile. Out of all of the divisions, bikini is the one that fluctuates the most, because yes, we have a criteria. However, there are so many different body types, so many different structures, so many different looks, where 1 week a girl can win a show and then she can come back 2 weeks and bomb it and not even place. That's how bikini goes. It's not as cut and dry, whereas like men's open bodybuilding, who's the biggest? It's visible, you can see it. Bikini is not always clear. Number 3 thing you need to understand for your mindset, you are going to catch the L more than you win. Understand that. Especially, I feel like the girls that are very competitive, or the girls that are coming from maybe other sports, pageants, something competitive, that are just used to getting in there, killing it, and winning everything all the time. I'm not saying that you can't come in here, bust it wide open, collect all the hardware, win, because that does happen, but that only happens to a very small percentage of people. I would say maybe 2% of women that happens to. Very, very rare. So get comfortable and understand that you're not going to win a lot, because there's only one winner. You can be proud of yourself and the physique that you brought and the placing, especially if the physique that you have now is better than your last showing, or if the placing is higher than the last show. Absolutely. But understand there's only one winner. That's it. Just one. And 9 times out of 10, you will not be that winner. And you need to understand that, and you need to be okay with that. Number 4 for the mindset shift. Getting stage lean is hard. Maintaining stage lean is even harder. Women are love. My body fat's so stubborn. Your body fat ain't no more stubborn than mine. I don't care if maybe you weigh more than me, you have a different body type than me, if you're on a weight loss journey, whatever the case may be. Sis, your body fat, it ain't more stubborn than the next person. Everyone's body fat is stubborn. It's fat, male or female. It don't want to come off. That's just the way it is. So you got to understand that, especially when you've never been stage lean before. Honestly, the first prep, you're not going to be lean enough. Nobody ever is. And that's okay for your first prep. You don't need to be to that level yet, because within bodybuilding, there are levels. But it will be the leanest you have ever been in your life. And even still, that from a true competitive aspect probably won't be lean enough. So understand, getting stage lean, like true stage lean, is hard. And judges don't care how much you weigh or how much body fat you have. I get that question a lot. What's your body fat percentage? I don't know. It's not a number. It's a look that they're going for. Especially for us bikini girls, they don't weigh us. All they check to see at the NPC level, the amateur level, is your height. That's all they need to know. And the only reason why they need your height is so that way they can put you in the appropriate class, because the classes are done by height. But judges aren't going to be like, oh, you know what? She's only 15% body fat. It's a look. It's a look. And everyone's going to have a different look, because there are so many different body types. There are some athletes that the judges prefer to see on the softer side, and that suits them well. There are some athletes where the judges prefer to see them on the leaner side, because that suits them well. I fall on the leaner side. They like to see me shredded. They don't like me soft, and I don't like my soft look either, because it doesn't look like I'm in shape. So again, it's just going to be dependent on your body type. It's very different for everybody. And last but not least, for the mindset, number 5, this ain't for everybody, and that is okay. That is okay. In fact, this does not need to be for everybody. If you are watching this and you were already turned off, good. Because that, you have just saved yourself a lot of heartache and stress. It's okay if this is not for you. It's okay if you start doing it and you don't like it. Bodybuilding is extreme. Bodybuilding is not health. I don't like that bodybuilding falls in that health arena, because once you get to a certain level, once I get to like that 5-week out mark, health has gone out the door, because I am already past my body fat set point. I am at a place to where my body doesn't like it. It's not comfortable. My body is fighting. It's like, hey, why are we this lean? What is happening? No. It's not for everybody. All right, so if you made it through the mindset portion and you're still thinking, yep, I want to do this, that means you about this life. So there are levels to this, all right? You have your regional level. The regional level is the NPC. NPC stands for National Physique Committee. And within the NPC, those are the amateurs, we also have the IFBB, International Federation Bodybuilding. IFBB, those are pros. So NPC is like the whole upper echelon situation, and then you have the NPC amateurs, and then you have the IFBB, which are the pros, all right? So as an NPC, as an amateur, you have to start off at a regional level show. So regional level shows tend to be a little bit smaller, or if you live in a bigger city and you have the opportunity to do a pro-am show, even better, because that's just a great experience. But for your regional show, you have to get your qualification to move on to the next level, which is the national level. So at the regional level, you need to come in first or second place in the open class. So there are different classes. So your division, bikini. But then within bikini, are you doing masters? Masters is for 35 plus. Are you doing true novice? True novice means you have never stepped on stage before. Are you doing novice, meaning you've competed, but you haven't gotten in that top placing yet? Those are the options. And then you have open. A lot of people, the first time they compete, they do true novice, they do novice, they do open, and if they're in the masters category, they do masters. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And for your very first show, I say do everything that you can. The more stage time that you get, the better, because you're gonna have all these stage show jitters. Your posing's gonna be wonky, like everything. Do as many as you can. So you do your regional show. You got first or second place. That's the only way that you can move up. Please understand, just because you got first or second place doesn't quite necessarily mean you're able to move up to the national level, because maybe there just simply wasn't a lot of competition that day, or maybe you were the best of that day because the judges just have to judge what's there. But understand, your body has to be developed enough. Do you even have enough muscle to hold your ground at the national level? And understand, with the levels, especially at the amateurs, there's still levels once you're a pro. Like, I'm a new pro, so I understand I am now right back at the bottom. And so as a new pro, I still have to climb the ranks. I still have to do my due diligence and work to get into that first call out. That's where I'm at right now. And of course, at the pro level, it's even harder. National level is hard. Trying to get your pro card is already hard enough. And so now where I'm at, I understand that this is going to be even harder than that. But guess what? I am already mentally prepared. So now we understand the levels, right? So you have your regional level, you get top 2, your physique is good, you can hold your ground. Now you're moving on to nationals, all right? National level. It's different. Every show is a little bit different. There are some shows where it's only first place that gets the pro card, and then there are some shows where it's first and second place that get the pro cards. And I'll try to remember to leave all the information, if not on the screen, then I'll have something down below if I can remember. If I don't remember, just leave a comment and say, hey, you forgot, you didn't remember, okay? But you have to, just depending on which national show you do, there are quite a few throughout the year. So you have the first one that you're going to have is the Arnold Amateur. Arnold Amateur is international, so it is open to everybody in the world, and you don't have to do a regional show to do the Arnold Amateur. So that's always the first one of the year. After that, you have Junior USA's. Junior USA's, you have to win your class, and then you have to go up against all the class winners, and it's only the top 4 that get the pro card for that show. So that show's a little bit tricky. I've done that show twice. After Junior USA's, that one's in Charleston, South Carolina, you have Junior Nationals. Junior Nationals is held in Chattanooga, and first place winner only gets a pro card for that one. After that, you have Universe. Universe is in Jersey. That's where I got my pro card. For that show, it's first and second place get pro cards. After that, you have USA's. USA's is in Las Vegas. Las Vegas, I'm not sure if that one is first only or first and second. Not 100% sure on that one. And then after that, you have North American Championships. This one is held in Pittsburgh. Same thing for this one. I can't remember if it's for, I think it's just for, I know Wellness is just first place. I can't remember for, I think it's just first place for North Americans as well. Yes. And then after that, we have Amateur Olympia. Amateur Olympia is held in Florida. It used to be in Vegas. It kind of bounced around because of the Rona and whatnot, but it is held in Orlando this year. And same thing as the Arnold Amateur, the Olympia Amateur Olympia is international, and you do not have to qualify at a regional level for that show. You can just walk on in and do it. And then the last national show of the year is going to be National Championships, and they actually just moved this one to Texas. So that's the last one of the year. So as you can see, you have quite a few options to pick from. However, this is why having a good coach is going to be key, because you want to have a strategy plan, especially when you are at this national level. You don't want to be trying to start March and going all the way through. I personally feel the best time to compete is starting off with Junior Nationals, Universe, and USA's, because all of those are lumped together. First, you're going to have Junior Nationals, and then typically Universe is 2 weeks after that. And then 2 to 3 weeks after Universe, you have USA's. It is much easier to maintain your leanness and conditioning that way versus, let's say you do Junior USA's in May, and now you're trying to stretch it all the way out to North Americans in September, or stretch it all the way out to USA's at the end of July. That's hard. So you want to make sure you have a coach that can structure everything for you, so that way you're not just burning yourself out, because you will get burnt out trying to maintain leanness for that long. Now, choose your division. I personally feel your division chooses you, and here's why. First thing that you should do is just look at your structure. Everybody can do this. Look at your structure, and then just how you are naturally, and then just look at pros. Obviously, you're not going to look like a pro because you're just getting started. You're not expected to, so please don't think that. But you can see the body types and the structure. Or do you have more of a petite structure? Are you more narrow like me? Then you're probably going to be suited better into bikini. Do you have smaller bone structure? Then you're probably going to be suited better for bikini. Are you someone that maybe has a lot of muscle? And I'm not talking fat, because I'm so tired of girls thinking because they hold body fat in the lower body that they're lower body dominant and that they're wellness. Sis, we are women. We all hold our body fat in the lower half, okay? That's how we're designed. Understand that fat has a different look than muscle. And just because you might be toting around a lot of fat, and a lot of us, our fat distribution, it's just nice. It looks good. But again, don't get that twisted, because what happens is a lot of girls think that because they hold a lot of their body fat on the lower half, that they're wellness, and then they start leaning out and they see that it was all body fat and there's no muscle there. Now, I'm not saying you can't grow into wellness, because you can, but were you a soccer player? Were you a softball player? Were you a volleyball player? Those athletes tend to have more quad. And if you're one of those athletes and you have true quad muscle, you got true glute dense muscle already, then you're probably going to be more so suited for wellness, because with wellness, they have a bikini upper body. However, wellness is the only division where there is absolutely no balance. In bikini, you want that nice hourglass shape. You want nice shoulders, tight waist, nice glutes. They don't want you too lean, but they don't want you too hard. It's this whole thing. With wellness, they want that imbalance. So your upper body's going to look more like a bikini competitor, small waist, but that lower body is going to be dense muscle, bigger than the upper. Now, were you maybe a track runner? Because this can kind of go both ways. I've seen track girls do really well in bikini, and I've also seen track girls do really well in figure as well. Figure, they are freaking beautiful. I just feel like they are the epitome of athleticism, and that's not a hit on any other division, but these girls from top to bottom look like freaking sculptures, okay? So they're gonna have nice lats, shoulders. The figure girls have tinier waist in bikini, like just snatch waistlines, and then you're gonna see some quad separation. Also, when they turn to the back, you're gonna see that their glutes aren't round and bubbly like a bikini competitor or a wellness competitor. Their glutes have a different glute shape and structure to them. However, same thing with them, like they have a certain level of leanness that they have to stop at, just simply because every division and criteria is different. Women's physique, no more heels. So bikini, wellness, and figure all wear heels. Women's physique, barefoot on stage. These girls, it's going to look like figure, but they're going to have more lines, more separation, more density, more muscular. And then you have women's bodybuilding, where it's the most muscle out of all the women's divisions, all right? So you kind of have to look at your structure and be honest with yourself. It's not about, oh, which division I like right now, because the thing is, let's say if you're a bikini girl starting off, but you really want to do figure, start off with a bikini, entryway in, and then just grow yourself. You can grow yourself into the division. So be honest with yourself, and whatever division you feel like is closest to your structure, that's the one that you want to roll with. Training is key. Understand that in bodybuilding, we are not a strength sport. Yes, you need progressive overload. Yes, you need intensity, because those things are going to help you to build and get the muscle that you need. But you also have to understand that we are training to look a specific way. So depending on what your division is going to dictate how you train. Also, when you first start off training, you're probably going to be training everything. So you're probably going to be hitting shoulders, back. You might have to do some abs. You might be doing some chest, quads, glutes, calves. You might just have to build the whole thing from the bottom up. That's what I did when I first started off. I was hitting everything. Fast forward to now, I only hit glutes and shoulders. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. My upper body, because I'm a bikini competitor, we can't do nothing else with it. I was told no more. So now I've built my physique up to where I'm just working on glute density. So you have to train specifically for your division so you can maintain within the criteria. And then something else you need to keep in mind too, because I said this a while ago and it just really stuck with me. Understand that your stage lean body is a fake body. That's not real. The reason why I say it's not real and it's fake is because you can't sustain it. It's not possible to sustain it, and you should never try to sustain it because it's not healthy. So with that being said, you have to think about your off season, which is your real body. When you have your body fat on you, when you're back to homeostasis, when your hormones and everything are leveled out, Are you going to be okay with how you look? Because understand, the more muscle you have, and when you put body fat on it, it's going to make you feel like you look bigger, but you're not big. It's just that you have muscle, you know what I mean? So your physique is going to look different when you're stage lean versus when you're just walking around your regular body. You still have the muscle, and now there's just body fat on it. So you have to ask yourself, am I going to be okay with that look? Because a lot of people get hung up on the lean and the shreds and don't take in consideration what's that going to look like on my off season. Though you have to be comfortable and feel good in your body on and off the stage. Let me go ahead and save you because, well, I'm not going to save you because y'all are going to do it anyway because we all do it. I've done it before, but do not compare your day one. Out of my 4 years of competing, I have done 9 shows. So if you have never stepped on stage before and you're looking at me or you're looking at another competitor and you start feeling bad, please stop, because you're not supposed to look the way that I look right now. You just got started. When I first started, I didn't look like this. I looked totally different. My back, I was tiny, tiny, tiny. Now look at myself, I'm like, whoa. A lot has changed in 4 years, but that has been 4 years of consistently training, of consistently hitting my nutrition, checking all the boxes, doing all the things. You know what I mean? So comparison is a thief of joy. And I was listening to a sermon this morning, and I love this because I know comparison is a thief of joy, but comparison is also a drug. People get addicted to comparing themselves. And in the sport of bodybuilding, there does come a time when you have to compare yourself, but the only time you have to compare yourself is when you are legit on stage with other athletes. That is the only time you should be comparing yourself. Comparing someone's Instagram photo because they're in their room with the perfect lighting. They know their angles. They're turning like this and they got their butt up like this and the phone's like this and the shoulders like all that stuff matters, you guys. And then some people throw on a little bit of a filter. Some people like to do a little Facetune, Photoshop. Like, stop comparing yourself. You are just starting off and you are not supposed to look like a pro yet. You're not. Prep and protocols. I hate the saying there are so many ways to skin a cat because that just sounds brutal and unethical to me. I love the animals. I don't like that saying. However, there are so many ways that you can prep. You're going to hear a lot of different things. You're going to hear some wild shit. I hear wild stuff all the time. You're going to hear people say, oh no, it has to be a meal plan. If you don't do meal planning, you won't get lean enough. Or, oh no, it has to be macros. Macros only, because macros is the only way that you'll be able to maintain some mental sanity, blah, blah, blah. You know what I say? I have experience doing both. Figure out what works best for you. That's what I say. Everyone else, mind the business that pays them. You have to learn your body. You got to figure out what works best for you. When I train smart. I'm at a point in my life now where I'm about to be 35 years old. I got some things going on with this body, okay? I am not old. Age ain't nothing but a number. It's all a mindset. I am smart enough to understand that 35 at 25, you will never catch me doing a hip thrust with 4 plates on both sides. You won't catch that. You know why? Because I'm at a place where I have to train smarter and I'm training around injuries. So understand that. There are so many different ways to prep. So many people get so snotty and turn their noses up because someone doesn't prep the way that they do. They don't do their nutrition the way that they do. They don't train the way. At the end of the day, like I stated, judges don't give a shit. They don't care how you trained. They don't care how you dieted. They don't care how much cardio you've done. They're looking at what is on the stage. And whatever is on the stage fits the criteria the best. That is what's going to win. So why people get so hung up and get so snotty because someone is prepping differently than them. And it's so fascinating because these same people that do that, they understand that every body is literally different. What works for one body won't work for another one. So if we know that, why are we being nosy and paying attention to what they doing and turning our noses up because they don't do it how I do? Like, that's stupid to me. When you're first starting off, learn And people, yes, you need a coach to guide you, but a coach can't do it for you. You have to take your own initiative and you have to play around. You have to try things. You have to see how you feel with your training. Figure out what works best. Figure out what foods are going to digest for you. A common protein source that a lot of bodybuilders use, eggs. I don't eat eggs. First of all, I don't like eggs. When I first started doing bodybuilding, I was eating eggs because I thought that's just what I had to do, and didn't realize that's why my stomach was messed up, because I can't process and digest eggs. I didn't know that because I never ate them anyway. So for me, I don't do egg whites. I've tried egg whites from the carton. I've tried organic. I've tried them from the farmer's market. I've tried everything. They just don't work well with my body. So it would be silly for someone who's just so stuck in their ways to say, oh, well, you need to eat egg whites. I can't. I literally cannot. I will be down bad. Bad, bad, bad. So do your due diligence. Play around. Try different things. Figure out what works best for you. With your training, keep your training simple, for the love of God. Yes, the cool, try this, save later, swipe bullshit is cool for the gram, but you also have to understand the people that are putting that out, their physiques are already maxed out. And that's the aspect that a lot of new athletes don't understand, because I didn't understand that. You're looking at these top Olympian pros and they're doing all this weird stuff and all these things. Well, guess what? They're at a point with their physiques where they can kind of play around in BS because they're not in a building phase. If you're in a building phase, keep it simple. And then I'm old school when it comes to training. I like my compound lifts. That's how I've been able to build my physique. I don't like changing up my programming. I don't. Some people, they say they get bored. Out of my entire 4 years of training for bodybuilding, I ain't never been bored. Ever. I've had days where I'm not focused. I've had days when I just didn't feel like being there. I've had days where I didn't feel like being there so much to the point that I didn't go. But as far as actually being in the gym bored, there's always something to do. There's always something to work on. You can always improve, because the thing is, like, whatever weight you might have pushed last week, this week, you might be stronger, or it might just be an off day and your strength's just not there. Things fluctuate. So you have to learn how to go with the flow, and you also have to learn what's going to work for you in the long run. And last but not least, how competitive are you? Are you someone who did your first show and it went really well? You got first or second place, maybe you won the overall, and maybe you went and did another show and you placed there, and you did another regional show and you placed there. If you've done 2 to 3 regional shows before stepping on a national stage, and you have placed and done well at every single one of those, meaning you qualified at all of those shows, that tells me you probably working with something, and you're probably going to be competitive. Now, with that being said, when you are choosing to be competitive, now you're in a whole nother upper echelon. And here's the thing, everybody's goal doesn't have to be to become a pro. Everyone's goal doesn't have to be to get to the Olympia. Everyone's goal doesn't have to be to win the Olympia. Your goal is your goal. Don't let anyone make you feel bad because you don't have the ultimate grandiose bodybuilding goal of getting to the Olympia. If just stepping on stage once is enough for you, that's fine. If just getting your pro card, if getting your pro card is enough for you, that's fine. If getting your pro card, doing a couple of pro shows for fun because you like it is enough for you, you're not hung up on being crazy and competitive, you're not hung up on I gotta get to the Olympia, that is okay. On the flip side, if you are wanting your pro card, actively working on getting your pro card, if you are a new pro and you want to get to the Olympia, we got to have some conversations. How competitive are you, and what are you willing to do? Are you willing to suffer? Because for some athletes, you will have to suffer. Everyone at some point is going to hit that suffering point. I hit that suffering point, and it's not fun. It's not fun. However, bodybuilding is extreme. And unfortunately, to get to that extreme level, you gotta do some extreme shit sometimes. Your cardio, once you start getting down to the wire, it might get up. I have done an hour and a half of cardio before. I know girls that have gotten up to 2 hours of cardio. That is very common. For them, that's just what it took. Fortunately, now for me, when I prep, I only have to do 40 minutes of cardio. But again, that's my body now. Every body is different and every prep is different. Your nutrition. Some people gotta diet hard. Some people have to get down to 50 grams of carbs. Oh my gosh. And so you can understand, like, my maintenance level. Well, I'll tell you what my carbs are right now because my food is up. Because I am reversing. And I'm 5'8", by the way. I'm tall. So right now, my carbs are at 260 grams. And my calories are at 2180. So, for me, 5'8" competitor, 260 carbs. The lowest my carbs got to was it 90 at one time? I think I had 90 grams of carbs. That's suffering. That's rough. That's rough. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to do, you might have to do a lot of cardio. It's one of those things where if you have a good coach, they won't know until you get going, because a lot of things we gotta wait and see. We gotta wait and see. Like, no coach can say, yes, for sure, this is how this is gonna go. This is what we're gonna do. Like, they have their own protocols, right? And things that they like to do. But sometimes in bodybuilding, you have to do stuff that doesn't make any sense. There's no science behind it. There's no bro science behind it. We just know it works. And so that's what we do. You might have to do a lot of cardio. You might have to suffer with your food. You might have to utilize some PEDs. Yeah, I said it. You might have to do it. I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't come here and let you know that that is very well part of the sport. And depending on which division you're choosing to compete in, some PEDs might have to be utilized. That's just simply what it is. If you choose to do that, you need to understand the risk, because there are risks. There's no safe PED. There's no one that's better. Well, you'll see things where people say a safer PED or the best PED for women. You know what the best PED is? None. That's what the best is. And the reason why I say that is because they all come with risk. However, can you do it in a way that is safe? Yes. If that is something that you are going to do, first of all, you need to make sure your coach knows what they're doing. They are well versed and they can guide you. Those things are key, because the last thing you need is to be pumping something into your body. Your coach doesn't know what they're doing. You don't even know if what you got is truly what they say it is. And is it even something that you need to be taking in the first place? Because I can tell you right now, from a bikini standpoint, I've heard some wild things. I really have. And for a bikini, if you do decide to go down that route, it does not take much. It's wild to me, some of the stuff that I've heard. Now, understand, once you start going up in muscular levels, like, please understand, I just want to put huge emphasis on this because I want you all to get it. As you start moving up in divisions where the muscles are more, it's just going to call for certain supplements to help achieve that look. You have to understand that our bodies are not intended, nor were they designed to look that extreme. Bodybuilding is an extreme sport, and I know personally I would be doing you guys a disservice if we did not speak on that. Of course, there's always going to be a genetic anomaly. There's always going to be an exception to the rule. So please, I'm sure I'm probably going to get a lot of DMs saying, oh, well, so-and-so is in this division and they're doing it naturally. Great. That's awesome. I'm not saying that it's not possible. Yes, I understand there's always exceptions to the rule, but what you have to understand is 95% of us are not the exception to the rule. And this isn't any way of me trying to push anything on anybody. These are just the hard truths and the facts of bodybuilding, especially when you start moving up in women's divisions. Do I think that you can do bikini naturally? I think it's 50-50. I think that some girls can, and I think that some girls need the assistance. Again, it's just going to depend on the physique. But what you also have to understand is just because someone has, PEDs in their routine doesn't mean that they're going to win. It doesn't mean that it's going to change things. And also, if you are not hitting everything to the T, meaning your rest and recovery, your nutrition, your training, your cardio, the PEDs aren't going to help you do anything. Like, all of these things are a formulation. And again, at the end of the day, you have to do your due diligence and figure out what you want to do, because it's your body and you never do anything that you do not feel comfortable with. Now, don't let that deter you. And also, I'm not sitting here pushing drugs on you, because I would never do that. It's your body at the end of the day. And I would much more prefer for you to not do anything just for your own safety and the risk factors of it. But like I said, I can't sit here and not mention it and act like it's not part of the sport, because it very well is part of the sport. It just is what it is. And I get why, like, the guys talk about it all the time, but women kind of like to dabble around it or just not mention it at all. And the thing is, I'm never going to ever get on any platform and say, oh yeah, you should take X, Y, and Z, because I'm not well versed in that. That's not my ministry. That's not my thing. And nor do I ever feel comfortable about that. And nor would I ever say, oh yeah, well, I've experienced X, Y, and Z, so you should go to, no. I'm when it comes to the whole drug thing, that's not me. However, but what I can tell you is it is part of the sport, depending on what division you're in, how competitive you're trying to be, and also, do you even need it? Because if you are someone that just has good genetics, I'm speaking bikini now, you just got good genetics and you got good structure, you might not even need it, and that is a bomb. And let's say if you do want to compete and you just are so far not interested whatsoever in doing any of that, thank the Lord there are natural federations. OCB is the most popular natural federation, meaning that you cannot utilize any sort of drugs to compete in their shows. You can still compete, you can still maintain your natural and not have to take anything and be just fine. So I'm saying all of this to say, I'm putting all this out there just for the new people that are entering the sport, and I'm sharing with you all the knowledge that I wish someone told me before I got started, because I was lost. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know up from down. Again, I don't feel it's necessary for women to get up here and say, oh yeah, when it comes to drugs, I take X, Y, and Z, but I do think it's time for us to get to a point to where we start touching on it and speaking on it, because it is a huge part of the sport. And we're doing new athletes a disservice if we're not letting them know, hey, this is potentially what you could be getting into. This is potentially what you are up to. If you choose to take PEDs, this is potentially what can happen to you. It's not a game at all. And also, when it comes to PEDs, when you're first starting out, you should not be implementing anything whatsoever. You are new to the sport. You need to make sure that your rest and recovery are on point, because ain't nothing gonna happen for you if you're not rested or recovered. That is how your muscles grow. Everyone thinks, oh, it's the training, the food. Yes, all things work together, but if you don't rest and you don't recover, there's going to be no progress. Focus on rest, recovery, stress management. Focus on understanding and learning nutrition. Focus on understanding, okay, am I better with a meal plan or am I better with macros? Also understand that if you do choose to go down the route of supplementation, PEDs, whatever you want to call it, that is not going to ensure success. All right? That doesn't mean you're going to win. That doesn't mean you're going to be competitive. It doesn't mean anything, because this is and will always be a genetic sport. And like I always say, look at the men's open bodybuilders, okay? We all know these guys aren't natural. They all have to utilize something, but guess what? someone still has to catch the L at the end of the day. So please don't think it's the end all be all, because it's not. Please don't think, and this is for bikini, because you're utilizing something that you're going to win, because someone who isn't, if their structure is better than yours, they are and still will probably win. Focus and learn your body, how to train, what feels good to you, what gets the most engagement for you. When you first start out, that should be your only concern. If you're with a coach and they're already throwing a bunch of supplements at you and PEDs and blah, 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 no, not your first season. Absolutely not. And then especially if you are on the younger side, if you're in your 20s entering this sport, you damn sure have no business whatsoever dipping and dabbling in anything. I personally feel, and again, this is just me, this ain't the Bible, I personally feel if you were under the age of 25, you have no business messing with it. And then this is going to be a stretch. And I know a lot of the girls, the top girls that are, you know, competitive, they are at this age and they might be using something, they might not. I can't speak to it, but I personally feel, because when you think about it, your brain truly isn't even done developing until you're 25 anyway. So there's that. Anything after 25 and you want to dabble, okay, cool. I say the longer you can go, the better. I am 34 years old and I did not have to utilize anything until I was 34. And the reason being is because at the beginning of my prep, I was having a lot of issues. Got my blood work done, found out I had no cortisol, no testosterone. And I also had just struggled tremendously with recovery. I do not recover well. I've never recovered well. So once we got my hormones regulated, everything was good. Then I realized I had to make a decision. I had to figure out, okay, I'm going to have to go low to a place that I have never gone to before. I am going to have to dig deep, deep, deep. That means there's going to be a lot of suffering. And with the suffering, my recovery is shit. So I understood that in order for me to push the way that I needed to in order to achieve the goal, I was going to need some help with the recovery aspect. Honestly, that was my main concern because I knew that I could not go on feeling the way that I felt. So for me personally, that's why I went the route that I did, because I needed to make sure that my body was going to be able to recover the beating that I was getting ready to put it through. So again, understand, I've been at it for 4 years. I didn't start anything until I was 34. And also, it was a very short period of time. I'm talking very short, from mid-April to June. That was it. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, I'm not going to get into dosing, what it was, but I can't sit here and talk about this and not share my experience with you guys. So that's just what I had to do for me, because like I said, I knew in order to dig deep, my body was going to take a beating, and I know my body can't take a beating. It can't. So for the recovery aspect for me, that's why I chose to go the route that I did. But again, keep in mind, I've been consistent with my nutrition, been consistent with my training, consistent with my chiropractic work, consistent with my body work, all of those things. I'm 34 years old. Like, I'm not in adolescence timing. You know what I mean? I'm not someone that's a young girl and the body hasn't been fully developed yet. So that's why I wanted to be transparent with you guys and share that with you. So I hope this information was helpful for you. Down below in the comments, let me know if it was helpful. And if you just have any other questions and maybe you don't want to put them down below in the comments, you're more than welcome to DM me. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. My DMs have been a little backed up recently. However, I will eventually get to it. But my goal for this is just simply sharing the information for new athletes that I wish I had. So keep it simple. Cast one more net.